guys, it's Brittany with hopefully another helpful wedding video for you today. We're going to be talking about what your wedding guests actually wish you would do at your wedding and how to make your wedding as memorable as possible for your wedding guests. I think some of these things are maybe going to surprise you a little bit. It's not about donut walls and flower backdrops and photo booths and all that other kind of like really fun stuff. I'm not saying it's not fun, but that's not, in my opinion, what makes a wedding truly memorable. I've been to plenty of weddings that didn't have all of these things that were just as, if not more, memorable than those big fancy weddings. So all the things that I'll be talking about today cost $0 or close to $0. And also please let me know in the comments below what you think makes a wedding memorable, what you would like as a wedding guest. Put it in the comments below. Let me know what I miss in this list. So the first really big secret I'm going to tell you that will affect all of the other secrets I'm going to tell you in this video is to change your mindset. Change your mindset from wanting to impress your guests to wanting to take care of your guests. So for your wedding, when you're trying to impress your guests, you might do things like hire a string quartet to play at your cocktail hour, which is lovely but unnecessary, especially if you're not focusing on playing danceable music later in the night. It's not to say that you can't do both of these things, but where is your focus? Impressing your guests is getting that beautiful venue with the perfect view, but not taking into consideration whether or not it's accessible or it has ramps or enough bathrooms. Impressing your guests is having that big surf and turf dinner, while taking care of your guests is making sure that any vegetarians or guests with seafood allergies also have something equally delicious to eat. These are really slight differences, and it's not an either or situation. You can both impress your guests and take care of them. In my opinion, it's not at all about how much money you spend, but the focus and attention you put on making your guests feel good and welcome. But if you have to choose, focusing on taking care of your guests should always take priority. This next tip is almost too simple and is often ignored, and that is to make sure that your guests feel seen and known as individuals. So what I mean by this is when people know your name and know something positive about you, it makes it a little bit easier for you to make a connection with other people at an event, to meet people, to have a good time, and to go home with good memories. When you think back to events you've been to in your life, whether it be weddings or birthday parties, there's probably times when you've been that kind of anonymous guest where not a lot of people at the party knew you, not a lot of people knew your name, not a lot of people knew your connection to the host, and ultimately it probably affected how good of a time you had at that event. You probably said, oh, that was nice, but it didn't affect you on any kind of like deep heart level. So here are a few ways that you can make your guests feel known both at a small wedding and a larger wedding. For a small wedding, this is really easy, right? Just introduce people a lot. Don't assume that anyone knows each other's names. Just constantly introduce people, and when you do it, compliment them. Compliment your guests in front of your other guests. Shower them with praise. Make them feel good. Make sure it's genuine. You're not just saying something to say something, but that you really mean it. Tell people what they have in common. Tell people their relationship to you. The more that you do this, the more you'll make people feel important and welcome at your event. I know this isn't popular, but I'm a fan of name tags. You can make them pretty and fancy, and a lot of fancy conferences use name tags in the world, so I don't know why we're so against them at weddings. But being able to see someone's name is a great thing. You can, if you forget someone's name on that first introduction, it's right there. You can see it. And this makes it easier for people to make connections, to go up and start conversations with other people. You can do icebreaker games like Find Someone Who or trivia either the night before the wedding or in pre-wedding activities, of course, like bachelorette parties, wedding showers. Or you can take like 20 minutes out of your wedding reception and play a little game like this to break the ice and let people get to know each other. For larger weddings, you can do all of these same things. It might just be a little bit trickier. Obviously, you can't introduce every single one of your guests individually to each other, but also you can set up the tables at your wedding so that guests learn each other's names. So for example, using the centerpieces as a way to get people to know each other. So having photos as your centerpieces, like little framed photos of you as the couple with all of the individual members at each of the tables, so that's a talking piece. Also perhaps printing, this takes work, I know this takes work, but printing like little blurbs, maybe 2 or 3 sentences of how you know each person at the table, and maybe even like mixing them up somehow, making it like a treasure hunt so people have to find out which blurb belongs to which person at the table. These are just like fun little things you can do at each individual table at your wedding to make it a little bit more interactive, and so that guests have a little bit of fun infused in getting to know each other, and it's not just like an awkward small talk situation where you don't get to know that many people at the wedding on more than a surface level. I hope this makes sense. I know like it sounds a little bit crazy. You feel like you're forcing guests to interact in these ways. As a teacher, I know this. I know it can be awkward asking people to participate in these things, but the payoff is worth it. People are sometimes hesitant to participate at first, but then they're really grateful for having done it because it leads to a really positive, intimate vibe after you've done all these things. And it's risky, it's kind of vulnerable. And so you could play it safe and just go the normal route and not do any icebreakers or not, you know, do intimate introductions or name tags. You could do without all of this and you wouldn't be taking any risk, and that's fine. But just like any other social situation in life, a little bit of intimacy, a little bit of human connection takes a little bit of risk. And so that's what I'm recommending to you with this whole tip here. My third tip or secret, what your guests secretly want you to know, is to be more exclusive. I mentioned this in another video, but I think it bears repeating here. Being exclusive is not being selfish. Being exclusive is making it so that the guests who you do invite to your event, to your wedding, have a better time. By leaving out guests that are not contributing to the purpose of your wedding, who are not really adding something special to your wedding, you're making your wedding actually much better for your guests who are there. This is gonna sound really bad, but I recommend being ruthless when making your guest list for your wedding. And not for you, but to ensure the best time for your guests. Number 4, don't hold your guests hostage. Your guests would like you to know that you should keep toasts short, keep speeches short, and keep your wedding ceremony short. So toasts should be under 3 to 5 minutes, and you have to be really strict with your toasters when you ask them to give a speech. Make sure you give them guidelines. Please, 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 please stay within 3 to 5 minutes or we're gonna cut you off. And don't line up like 4 to 5 toasters back to back to back. People are hungry, they're thirsty. Don't hold them hostage and make them listen to a bunch of toasts. And your ceremony should never be more than 45 minutes long. 45 minutes is kind of pushing it. Try to keep it shorter than 45 minutes. If your guests are standing, keep your ceremony under 15 minutes. Put your heart and soul into your wedding ceremony, keep it short and sweet, and don't make it long just for the sake of making it long. I made a video on 6 wedding mistakes you can make, which I highly recommend you watch if you're interested in your guests' comfort. The 5th thing your guests wish you would do at your wedding is to let them know what the heck is going on. Let them know what to expect. Communicate in advance what food and drinks you're serving, especially if they have any kind of allergies. They need to know these things. And they need to know whether or not to eat beforehand, to bring snacks, all that kind of stuff. Let them know how to dress, what shoes they should wear, whether or not transportation is going to be provided, and also let them know the schedule of events for the day, whether this is in your invitation or on your wedding website. Number 6, don't make your wedding guests stand in line for the bathrooms. Have at least 1 bathroom for every 30 guests. Don't make them miss stuff at your wedding just because you didn't make sure there were enough bathrooms. And finally, number 7, this is going to make me sound like an alcoholic, but have an open bar. Doesn't have to be a full open bar, maybe just beer, maybe just wine, maybe just beer and wine, but have an open bar. Prioritize booze over decor. That's all I have to say. All right guys, what else? Let me know in the comments below. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I don't know if you can hear this, but I am surrounded by construction noises and just like intermittent screaming seagulls and police sirens. So we'll be really lucky if we get a video out of this today. Now there's a garbage truck right outside my window. So this is great.